Ovals are ovals, but they are not equally ovals. If you've been riding ovals for a while, you already know what sense they bring. If you did not, or if you did that not for long enough to actually see the gains, in essence you have two chain rings in one. In one part it feels like smaller amount of teeth, in other as bigger. In human terms, what oval gives to you is that then it's hard, it becomes a bit easier, and then you have that additional power. Once you go from the hardest part on the easiest part of a chainring, it again gets hard, and then it's easier, and then it's hard, and then it's easier. These three are ovals from different manufacturers. They are all 32 teeth, so it means that at some degree they feel like 30, 31, at other like 33, 34, it depends. In this video we will cover why it's beneficial to try and use them in long term, as well as why they are all ovals, but they are not equally ovals. To start with, it's three different manufacturers: Garmin, Absolute Black, and Alugear. Despite the fact that this one is aero version from Alugear, they also have cutout ones, but I just wanted to test this. The ovality of those ovals, the amount of elliptical form in their design is exactly the same. They both have the same ovality of 12% and the same top dent center of 108 degrees. In terms of ovality, they are exactly the same. The only difference is that Garmin has longer teeth profile, so that might be beneficial when you go into the muddy situations, because ovals tends to drop from time to time, so the bigger teeth profile is beneficial if you want to try to avoid it, and that's the reason why I initially got this Garmin at first place. Now with Alugear you can see that it's aero version without cutouts. I would strongly suggest you reconsider buying those in first place if you know that you might be riding in muddy, dirty conditions. Probably there is a reason why other manufacturers do those cutouts. The dirt gets very fast under this part and it rubs to your frame. It just not good option for dirty conditions, and surprisingly these with cutouts works significantly better, because the dirt which comes into can get outside. Here it gets trapped, so unless you ride in dry conditions, this one is not an option at all. Among manufacturers which produce ovals, at least in Europe, Absolute Black is probably the mostly known and used by majority. It's for multiple reasons. First, it has neat design, but more importantly, it just feels better than our ovals. I couldn't believe myself that those few degrees here and there can make a difference. Once you try Absolute Black and then you go to any of those which are by design equal, something just feels different. After checking few stats and data points, I realized where that difference is coming from. It's because of varying ovality. In human terms, the elliptical form of this chainring is different. Absolute Black kind of disclaims that this is patent weighting. I'm not sure whether it's true or not, but I used Absolute Blacks on 3 different bikes and they are just better than those other manufacturers. However, I haven't tested all of those. As a rule of thumb, for choosing ovals, I would suggest you to think about varying ovality, and that will give you that feeling which Absolute Black gives. Those, they are still better than round, and I don't know why people go on round nowadays, but it's your choice. What I noticed is that once you start using oval, after some time you so get used to it that you don't feel any benefits from it. But just go on round chainring bike and then you will see that it actually makes a difference. Where it makes it? On the climbs. My first ride on oval was in Madeira on rental bike. It just feels different than round one, and I had no preference whether it's better or not, but after I got on other rental bike which had casual round oval, then I realized that alright, so maybe Absolute Black or ovals has something which I still don't fully understand, but I should try it on my own bikes as well. And that was the life-changing moment. Then I switched to ovals and never looked back to round ones. On road bike I don't have it, because more or less I don't ride on road bikes, and I heard that It doesn't work as smoothly on 2x systems as in a 1x, but nonetheless, all of those are Shimano direct mount. All manufacturers of these type of products produces them for all available, or at least most mainstream cranks, so you will definitely find an option to choose for your bike. Among those three, my first take would be Absolute Black, then probably either Garmin or Allgear, but Allgear with aero only if you go in dry conditions, otherwise just choose the one with cutout. And to try to prove the actual ovality thing, we can just measure the distance from one side to the other at the biggest chainring part. So on Absolute Black, 129 and something. Allgear, you can see that it's already smaller by good 1.5 millimeters. So the same will be on Garmin as well. Well, Garmin may be a bit worn, but it will be pretty much it. It's even smaller. All right, so maybe just reset. Oh, so I'm measuring the wrong part. 128. This one is the biggest, almost 128. This has a lot more wear on it. And now let's just see the width. 113. Yeah, 113, 115 on the Garmin, and then Allgear at the biggest part, it's also close to 115. What this tells us about those chain rings: Absolute Black is wider at the biggest part and narrower at the smallest part. That exactly gives you a difference of easier and harder effort, and on the climbs that spot is really what makes a difference. And also the ovality itself is slightly different on Absolute Black. It's very hard to compare those, but if you put them side by side, once it starts moving towards the bigger part, it just goes gradually slower, and that makes the difference between narrower and wider parts. Absolute Black is the way to go. I use Shimano cranks, so I have 32, 34 and 36 ovals. I change them during the season based on the races, and I don't mind doing that because I know that if the race is hard, why to suffer with 36 if I can go with 32? And then as an opposite side, if I know that I'm going into marathon, which will have a lot of fast flats, fast areas, why should go on 32? 32 is actually the killer in the marathon if you know that it's not hilly at all. Choose the chain rings wisely, and my suggestion is to go with ovals in first place, and the second it probably should be Absolute Black. It's your choice, but that's the option which I choose. And talking about the options, I received few requests about Duke's wheels, just to overview what I have, how it performs, etc. These are the DT Swiss 240 hubs. Yeah, I will cover additional details about this because those rims has a story on their own already. If you don't want to miss the upcoming videos, just hit that subscribe button and be notified when they drops in. Other than that, thanks a lot for your time, and I hope to see you around.